I am Todd from GoodCleanFunLife.com.
I am Tony Rousseau, no relation. We got all sorts of fun for you this week. Plenty of stuff. We got Third Fridays, we got Second Fridays, we got Fiddlers, conventions, we got my great big book, and we also have me ignoring Todd on the internet, which I think is a fun place to start, so that's where I think we'll do it. Earlier this week, no, last week, Todd was supposed to be a guest on one of my other podcasts because that's how much time I have on my hands. And I screwed it up, and I couldn't check him into the. I'm usually the guest, is the thing.
Right.
I'm usually not the host of a guest for a podcast. My guests are usually like in studio type guests. So I thought I'd get fancy, and we invited Todd to plug, which no longer needs plugging, the Burley Oak Kickstarter. And so the whole time I'm like, well, I guess Todd. The whole time I'm texting him, but I work. This podcast takes place in the middle of the country where there is no signal. I mean, like I am hardwired in, but like my phone's not working, and I'm texting Todd, and I'm like, where the hell is he? And my texts aren't going through, so you're not getting them.
Right.
And I'm like, I guess he's not around. So the whole time I'm like, well, and I see we have a viewer, right? So I'm like, well. For those of you watching, Todd reached out. He said he's having technical difficulties. He hopes to be on soon. And the one guy who's watching is Todd, and he's like, no, it's me. Let me in.
Yeah, I've never had the scenario where I've wanted to reach into the computer so badly. I mean, it's like the spoof of the foreigner alien who sees television for the first time and doesn't understand why the people on the other side of the screen can't see them or talk to them. That was real life. I could not get in.
It was very, very funny in retrospect. So let's talk about the Burley though Kickstarter, because you didn't get to talk about it on the other show. We might this week, hopefully. But you're there. You're done. Where are you guys?
We're 80 right now. We're 86% funded, which is we have $38,000, which is an incredible number, and considering we still have 24 days to go. And it's been great. It's been a learning experience, and that's for sure. But it's that last $5,000 that is on average. The way we're breaking it down is I had said from the beginning we got to have between close to 400 backers, and got to be in that 100 plus average because of the other projects that we looked at. And right now we're at 300 backers. We're a little bit high on the average per pledge, which is cool.
It is cool.
So, I mean, we have to get like, 2 or 3 backers for the next day and next 25 days, and keep the number, keep the average up, which hopefully we do. And I mean, I'm kind of like no eggs until they're hatched.
I would figure another big media push in 10 days, like, do you want it to be your dollar that finishes this Kickstarter off,
Yeah, and we may have been a victim of our own success early on, where
people are like, they're going to obviously make it.
Yeah, we hit that 20,000 mark in like 3 days, and people are like, well, if they have that, we're golden. I'll just stick around. So it might be good just to kind of let things go. Although the plan was always to set a goal that was not that not too big, that didn't come across as greedy. Brian has a very successful business, but it's much more than just asking people for money, and I truly do believe that.
I did post that blog though, right? You did get that blog. Did that go live?
I don't know. I'll have to look. Oh yeah. The Kickstarter blog?
Yeah.
Yeah, of course. Of course you got that. Here,
feel free to share that socially. Maybe someone will read it.
I believe in local beer.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's nicely written.
That's a very well written. Yes, because Natalie even remarked, yeah. You love me, Tony, don't you?
Why is that?
I don't know because all I wanted to do is to share that, and I haven't to this point. I was begging you for it, and now there it
That's
is.
okay. That's what I'm saying. Another big media bump. That's all right. I'm making a real push into Delaware after my book comes out. I'm going to be pushing to Delaware for my next Delaware beer book, and I'm going to be stirring up this whole State of the Beer blog. I'm going to try to do a lot more with that, and as part of that, I want to get some stuff shared through goodcleanfunlife.com. So I think you'll see a little bit more of me in the coming months, in the new year.
Well, I hope so because the way you were talking about your publicist and
I got to get it cleared.
All the big wig, oh, I have a book that I've read. I'm just sitting at home reading my book.
And so all right, so we'll talk about that. I'm not afraid. So this is the book, Eastern Shore Beer.
Mm-hmm.
They sent me the first edit they sent last week. And I went through it and I made my corrections. Did I lose you?
No, I don't know. Oh, maybe you did. That's weird. Da 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 da.
First, there you go. You were gone for a while. I don't know what you heard. So the first edit I did, and they sent me the proof of the book, and included in the proof of the book is actually the insert. And I can't show you a lot of the insert because actually I literally signed a contract saying that I can't show you the insert. But I will show you this because I think this is awesome. Yeah, that's me.
Look at you.
How impressive, huh?
You're a handsome man.
I'm a good-looking guy, good-looking fella.
Right.
So
that guy's book.
Yeah, that was my About the Author page. But they sent me all this stuff, and I had to proof it and send it back. And then in the meantime, the marketing people reached out to me, and they're like, okay, so let's talk about your book opening. Let's talk about the different places you'll be giving talks. Let's talk about how to get this whole thing kick-started. Literally, I don't mean funded. I meant like jump started. And this is I'm breaking this here, and I might be kind of violating vaguely the rules of being quiet, but my book will be in stores on November 11th.
Wow.
Yes, that's Kurt Vonnegut's birthday for all of you who are me. As well as
reason to nerd out.
Yeah, it's on what you call it day, Armistice Day, Veterans Day, November 11th. It'll be out, and the prevailing thought is that we're going to have a large party at the possibly the Cambridge Visitors Center.
Okay.
And the idea is that the author will make a donation of all of the wild goose stuff that he has that he found to the Cambridge Historical Society, and so we'll maybe make a news event out of it. The reason we're not going to have it at a brewery is the odds are in the 80% that I will have brewed a beer for the book, a colonial beer, which will almost certainly be undrinkably bad.
That's great.
But this week I'll be going to Philadelphia, where I'll be diving into the archives, even though the book is finished, to see if I can get a sense of what John Beale Bordley put in his beer. That's great. If I can get a sense of what is in his beer, I will have it brewed and we'll debut it at my book opening, which might make it like a legitimate news event, which would be awesome. It's almost too much to think about. It's really a lot.
Right.
But
what's so funny is the before we came on air, you're having the conversation about it's like, oh, if you have any places that there might be willing to do a book signing, or I'll contact my publicist.
Yeah, it's absolutely. It's just so surreal. So one of the other things that I'll be doing, which is kind of why I wanted to talk about this, is I'll be at the Good Beer Festival as a media type again, which I haven't been for 2 years. And I'll be filming it for Wicomico County. and I'll also be making a video for Doug at Extreme Brewing. Doug that's where Brian learned to brew. That's where everybody learned to brew. He helped Sam with Dogfish. He's like a local legend. But anyway, so I do a podcast with him, the one we shut you out of.
Yeah.
And they said, hey, if you want to put a little something up that says your book's coming out at the homebrew tent, you can do that. We think it'd be cool. And if you want to have like pre-orders for the book, pre-order forms for the book, you can have that there, whatever. So I reach out to the History Press, my publishers, and that's when I discover that I have a publicist. And publicist is just me being a real dick about it. It's just like their marketing person for the region. But I like to call him my publicist just to get into all the weirdness that it is. But I swear to Christ, she sent an email back immediately, and I sent a vaguely drunken email at 10:30 at night, and she shoots me back this email, which is like, all right, that's awesome. We'll get you out a poster of your book cover, and some postcards and some pre-order forms right away. You'll have them in time for this event. Wow. And my head almost came off. I mean, how do you respond to that? When was the last time you said to a person, oh, I'm going to be at this place, and some people who might be interested in my book might be there, and they're like, okay, well, we'll send you a poster and a whole media kit.
Right.
How's that?
Right. Yeah, let's throw your face up. Let's throw your head up on a poster with the backdrop.
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
That's actually will be the cover. I think I've shown you the cover, right?
Yes.
I'm not allowed to show the cover yet. They said they'll let me know, but they're not letting me know.
Looks good.
It's beautiful. It's beautiful. I got the color insert, which, as a matter of fact, when we're offline, I'll send you that as a PDF. It's also absolutely breathtaking. It is. I mean, it's Kelly's work. It's not my work, so I can say that. And she doesn't listen to this. She would die before she listened to this. But it is absolutely. It's spectacular. It's like someone else wrote it, and not only that, but I'm going to just be even more gross and obnoxious. I'm reading the book, and I'm like, this is pretty good.
Yeah.
Because I haven't looked at it in several months.
Right.
Or in a month, and when I step away from it, it doesn't look like my writing anymore. And every now and again, I'll be reading, and I'm like, that's not bad. I could read this book. It's a book worth reading.
It's funny with everything that's been going on with the Kickstarter. We put a lot of effort into the video that we made, and by most accounts, it's a very good video. But I am so sick of that video. It's like, and I love Jordan Sokol, but when the opener has like geese in it, and then it goes right into the Life of a Tree song. And it's awesome, but like I hear the first couple chords of that song, and I just go, oh. But that's you're not at that point. Maybe once you read the book 3 more times before it's.
No, you know what? I don't know because it's crazy. It's because it's just absolutely absurd that that anyone would publish anything that I've written, and I'm just never going to get over that. And so, and seeing it here, I'm actually sending it to you right now so that you can see it and agree, or keep your mouth shut about how awesome it is. The color insert. Actually, I sent you the whole thing. Don't sign my contract and send it back, because that would be important.
That would be great.
But I don't see myself getting sick of it. I read the book, and then I think of all the stories. Like, all right, so this book is about 40,000 words. As you may or may not know from having dealt with me in the past, I love the sound of my own voice.
Right.
So I had to cut a lot out of this book just to get under the 40,000 word mark. And like, I went back through and I rearranged sentences. I came to like 39,250 words or something. Like, I came screeching in under. They're like someplace between 35,000 and 40,000, and I came screeching in. Right. And when I saw that I had extra room, I went back and added shit. I got it down to 37,000. I swear to God, so I added 3,000 more words. It was just like, oh, now I can tell this story.
Right.
And so as I'm going through it, I'm like, ooh, this is another good story. And I'm actually making notes about stories that I can blog about that just couldn't fit in the book. So no, I don't get tired of it. Plus, again, I'm obnoxious. So.
Well, this is all stuff that we'll talk again about on Thursday, I'm sure.
Absolutely. So let's plow on through and let's talk about Third Friday and the fact that you didn't go.
Yeah, I had I had no intention of going. I had an intention of going, because Tony Weig up there is right on Main Street.
I didn't send you the photo. I was at that party.
You were at the skateboard party?
I wanted to send you. I ran into Mark Huey, and I wanted to send you. I took a picture of Kelly and I at the skateboard party, and I was going to say all the cool kids are here except Todd, but then we got distracted and I didn't send it. So
you were too busy being cool.
I was too busy being in the cool kids because the cool kids never recognized me, but I went there and they recognized me. So actually, they recognized Kelly because she had friends at the party. So
well, you got to tell me how it was because we were busy. Natalie, as duties of incoming chamber president, was setting up for the Fiddlers Convention here in Berlin, and we had to do that prior to going to Salisbury to peddle Jack Daniels to college kids.
Right.
And so we were hoping to get up there, but it was too much. So you tell me how the skateboard party was.
Oh, I'm actually about to show you.
Okay.
This is Kelly and I at the skateboard party. We were in front of a skateboard. It was loud and it was very loud.
Very loud.
So that's it was fun. I mean, everybody seemed to be having a blast there. The Third Friday is a thing now.
Yeah.
God bless them all for all the work. Jamie Heater and all of those guys for all the work they do. Third Friday is like a legitimate thing. And because it's a legitimate thing, we're going to go more often. So we went and we visited all of the stalls. I bought a comic from our friends at PLB Comics.
Oh, nice.
But my buddy, it's funny, my buddy Keith is a comic book collector, and somewhere in his comic book world, he saw that they had their Halloween issue coming out. Go visit PLB Comics if you don't know what I'm talking about. Their Halloween issue. This must be their 6th one, their 5th or 6th one. They do a Halloween issue every year. It's very cool.
That's awesome.
And so Keith saw it on this message board or something, and he said, "Hey, aren't these those guys we met in Baltimore?" And I'm like, "Yeah." So as a present for my friend, I went and I bought him this comic book. I got Matt and Mr. Doofendock. Is it James? James. I got Matt and James to sign it.
I think so.
And it's cool. It's got a really cool cover. And then we went down to Mojo's, which I've never been in. Mojo's is awesome. Have you? I guess you've been. Of course you've been.
I've been. Yeah. We were there before it was Mojo's, and even post. And it's a good spot. Yeah, and we're gonna be spending some time up there too. At Mojo's and Market Street and Rody Joe's, as I mentioned, with Jack Daniels.
Right, and Echelon has just opened. Do you know this?
I know this. I have not been. I've not been there. But I mean, I think you're right. I think it's maybe if I had stuck around in working with Jesse in Salisbury, I would have pushed it more. But Salisbury is Maryland's next big thing.
It really is. And I don't know if I told you this or not, but they have a columnist. I did tell you the Downtown Lowdown. I told you.
Oh yeah.
I was gonna pretend like you didn't know, but yeah. So I'm writing my monthly column about how awesome the downtown is, and I don't want to take any cheap shots at Echelon because they're just opened. But Brian has a similar story, which made me think of it. Echelon doesn't have enough bar stools around the bar. And I remember when Burley opened, Brian got the shipment of the wrong height.
Yeah, they were the wrong size.
And he went bananas. So I wondered if the guy at Echelon, like they didn't send him his bar stools and he wanted to go on a shooting spree or something. But there aren't enough stools around the bar, so I didn't go in because I have to sit at the bar. Because I'm that guy. I'm not going to sit down and have dinner. I'll sit at the bar. But they also have the cellar around the corner where I'll be. I'm going to try to have dinner in the next couple of weeks, and I'll report back.
I like the cellar. The cellar had opened when I was working up there, and that's a cool spot. And they got like little, it makes me think of a writer's place because it's got like these little nooks in the back. And it's pretty warm and cozy. So I
Yeah,
think
well, that's what I'm thinking. Like in those old timey places in New York, where actually not. I'm sorry, I'm saying old timey, but really maybe in the last 30 years, when smoking became illegal in offices in New York, but was still legal in bars, all of the writers, like newspaper reporters and stuff, would set up shop in the bars so that they could still smoke and write at the same time. And some would carry literal typewriters into the bar, and they would sit at the bar and just kind of hold court, and they would work, and they would go outside and use the payphone, and they would smoke and write and smoke, and then send their copy back because they weren't allowed to smoke in the office anymore.
and now that's still happening. It's just hipsters in New York that are doing it instead of actual writers.
Right, and no one smokes. Smoking is illegal in New York. They can under the penalty of death, unless you're having the cigar event, in which case smoking is legal. But I don't understand that. So yeah, that was it. You missed out. Third Friday is a big thing. It's going to continue to be a big thing. I'll probably be at the next Third Friday. Not next third.
When is the next Third Friday?
The next Third Friday is I guess whatever, October 20th, and I will go. But then the third Friday after that, I'll be having a signing.
Right.
I'm sure my publicist will take care of that.
Katy Perry.
But yeah, Katy Perry. But actually, it'll be that whole weekend. I'll be because I come out on the 11th, and then I've really got like 8 events between the 11th and the 14th. I'm just going to be run out. I'm going to do second Friday at Berlin.
Okay.
If I can find a place. I don't know if anybody knows anybody. But I'll do second Friday at Berlin, and I will do third Friday in Salisbury, and then the Waterfowl Festival in Easton. Just pow, pow, pow. It's going to be insane.
Right.
I'm very excited.
You're gonna need to be checked into the hospital for dehydration, like one of these pop stars.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna have my daughter Megan. I figure I'll give her a couple bucks to drive me around, and I'm deducting bourbon. I think it's only fair. I have to drink Old Granddad because I don't know anybody in the Jack Daniels organization who can send me decent whiskey. So I've been slumming it the last couple of weeks. Ouch. All right, so what else we got? We got Dewy Beach Biz Partners, and now this is a cool thing. You explained it to me briefly. The town merchants throw a party for the locals.
Yeah, and we've been doing work with the Starboard obviously for the past year, and Monty is one of the guys who heads this up, and it is basically giving back to the community. It happens to be during the Dewy Beach Music Festival, or music conference, which is going on, and it's basically, and the way he explained it to me is like, I want you to come up for the beach party, and we're gonna have a band out on the beach, we'll be cooking, and it's for the local merchants and the local, homeowners and that sort of thing. So it's sort of post summer, and the people who own places maybe they rent them out, that sort of thing. Well, we got up there, and it was like, it was like Firefly on the beach of Dewey. There was a huge stage that's set up. I mean, wait till you see the video. In fact, what I should do is I should pull up some sneak peeks of the video. But and tons of people that are out there. And just everybody having a good time, and doing what they do. They're in Dewey, enjoying themselves, and local politicians, the whole bit, were there hanging out, and I'm just impressed with how much that they do for the community and for the surrounding area. Yeah, it's a party town for the months during the summer, but obviously they care a lot about the community and all the stuff that's going on around there in Dewey.
Right, and it's not like that kind of party town. It's not dragging frat boys out of bars on the boardwalk. They're a different kind of party town at Dewey, I think.
Yeah. in fact, there was an article that was written about, it's a party town, but it's the only party town where, yeah, there might be a drunken fight, um, but it turns out it's a husband and wife, and they're both big time lawyers in D.C. that get
Yeah.
into the fight. It's fun. So yeah,
Yes.
we're gonna be doing more stuff with them, continuing on, which of course we're happy about.
And it's exciting, as we were mentioning off there, I'll be pushing into Delaware in the new year because I'm going to write. There are a lot that I want to write about Delaware breweries as well, but I couldn't because it has to be local region, and putting Delmarva on a book is the same as putting Don't Buy This on a book. So we did Maryland this year. I'm gonna try and do Delaware for next summer, and I'm trying to think of what to call it, but something of slower, lower Delaware, right?
Yeah. They love the slower lower.
They love that.
Yeah,
I've seen T-shirts with turtles on them, and
yeah. Well, and then I mean, what they have there is the quiet resorts, and it's evolved I think a good bit, but I think it's still pretty accurate as as like a marketing campaign goes. As you have Bethany and you have Fenwick and Rehoboth, which are you can have a great meal and you can have some good dinner and entertainment and that sort of thing.
well, it's funny. I think I've said this on this podcast before, but I'll say it again. My boss and I were on our way out there. My daytime job boss and I were on our way out there, and he was bitching about the roads. And he's like, Ocean City has Route 50, and you can just get there. He's like, but to get to the Delaware beaches, there's all these roads, and there's just single lane. And he's like, I don't see why they don't expand the roads. I'm like, because they have all the people they want.
Yeah.
They don't need to be able to double the number of people who are coming there. They have all the people they want to come. Many of them own their own homes.
Yep.
Many of them own second homes. I did a really interesting story in the Metropolitan. I'm sorry, the story wasn't great, but the story was okay. But I spoke with the guy at J. Con Scott.
Okay. Furniture
Mr.
place?
Yeah, the furniture place, and I didn't realize. I thought that was like a national chain, but it's not. It's just them. That they have two stores, one there and one in Bethany. And Bethany actually they have a house that's called the Show House, and they just redo rooms they redo a room every week, even off season in Bethany. Wow. And people come and just look at the house. They just look and get design ideas and stuff like that. But what was really cool about it, he's like, these are second homeowners. These aren't. He said when I first started, because he's an older guy, he's probably in his 50s. An old man in his 50s. But he's like, when I first started, yeah, there were beach houses when I was a kid. He said, but now these are second homes. These people don't just come here. They come here all summer, yes, but they're also going to spend several weekends a month and maybe even a week a month coming in from D.C. to hang out at their beach house and to enjoy the solitude that they used to be able to enjoy before these were resorts, right? And so now a lot of these people, they come down in the winter from D.C. and from Philadelphia and from Baltimore and from Jersey, and they're like, we're going to get away to our beach house in the winter because the Delaware beaches are awesome all winter long.
Well, and I think, yeah, because we've seen, I mean, when we first moved down here, we were living on Route 26, which feeds into Bethany, and that has expanded, well back away from the beach to the west. But I think for all of those D.C. and Baltimore and all over, they're used to sitting in traffic every day for work and that sort of thing. They sit in an hour of traffic. What's another 2 hours of open road in the off season to come and enjoy some of the best weather and kind of easy going and like you said, how good it was before it became really good or a big resort.
Right.
So that all makes sense to me.
Very cool. We are running late, so we're going to start wrapping it up. Thing number one I want to say, though, before we start to cool down and go through what we have coming up this week is gone out of my head. So we'll just go to what we got coming up this week. So what do we got coming up this week? Anything fun?
Well, speaking of whiskey, we have the big Jack Daniel's Jack Hotties kickoff at the Warehouse in Salisbury. That's going to be an all-night party on Friday night. I expect to see you there. The Warehouse, which formerly known as the Monkey Barrel.
Yes.
It's
actually, I'll tell you why I won't be there. That's what I was going to say. I'm going to Wildwood, New Jersey this weekend.
Oh, nice.
For a big cousins party. We rented a house. 6 of us have rented this. We rented one of those houses that you see and you're like, who the hell rents those kind of houses? We do, damn it. We rent them off season. We rent them in late September.
That's
it's a 6-room palace on the beach in Wildwood. It is beautiful.
That's cool.
If you don't follow me because I don't ever do it. But if you're an Instagrammer and you follow Kello, I'm sure Kelly will post lots of photos over the weekend. But I also heard a storm is moving in. So think of me if another huge storm hits New Jersey this weekend. I'll be there to cover it for the Todcast. So anyway, yeah, the former Monkey Barrel. You said the Warehouse. It rang my bell because I saw that how long has it been the Warehouse? A year? 6 months?
Yeah, 6 months. 6 months probably.
I saw it a couple weeks ago, and I'm like, oh, I should go and see what's different about it. I knew the guy who owned the Monkey Barrel. His name was Al. I don't know if you ever met Al.
No.
He started. He was from where I was from, New Jersey, like 1 town over. So I knew him. But I don't know who owns the Warehouse or what's going on there.
From what I understand, there's some Mackey's crossover there, and former owners got bought out by current owners, so it's just it's pretty much the same on-site management with a new name and a little new setup. I think they're trying to make a little VIP, make it a little bit more swanky.
Now, do they still have that liquor store, the deli and liquor store next door? Is that the same?
Yeah. In fact, the deli next door, when we went last weekend, just kind of getting things prepped and set up and taking pictures and stuff like that, was actually pretty happening place on a Friday night. So we're gonna try to pack the house on Friday. We're doing the kickoff for the Jack Daniel's stuff that we're doing, and just building on what we have been doing. And so that's Friday night, and Saturday is going to be there's a Burley festival, so we'll be talking about that instead of social media and that all day, all week instead of the Kickstarter.
Oh, and we've got to hit that again. We'll hit that if I can find a way to turn the internet on Thursday. We got to hit that. What's the rare beer? What's it called? It's
the Radical Beer Festival against the sterilization of local palates. It's basically don't drink natural light, you idiot.
Yeah. I have just to bring it back to my book because I'm not self-centered. The first craft beer geek in Maryland was all about drink local, buy local. And so that's a 400-year-old idea that's finally starting to happen. So yeah. I'm for that.
Yeah. Well, maybe we should talk about it on Thursday, but the whole somebody put the challenge out there, if Natty Boh, which hasn't been brewed in Baltimore for the past 14 years, is now owned by a Russian conglomerate, is there a new Maryland beer to step up and take the mantle?
Yeah, you know what? All right, so I'm not from here, right? And I'm gonna be as gentle as possible. But at this point, if anybody's gonna replace Natty Boh, I feel like John Waters has to get into the brewing business.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's as much iconic as it is. Well, it's only iconic.
Right. Well, I'm sorry. And that Russian, that was Pabst Blue Ribbon. Do they also own Natty Boh? Is that how that works? Do you know?
Yeah. So Pabst had bought Natty Boh years ago, and now they got gobbled up. And now nothing's going to change, and it's still going to be the same, and as it ever was. But
except it's going to go to Russia. There is a guy who owns National Bohemian, though.
Yeah.
Which is in some way different, right? He owns a license to that.
I'm not sure. Well, there's probably multiple, or there's probably merchandising and name rights because it's more iconic than it is, quality beer.
Well, I'll tell you the other thing. The backup plan for those of you, I don't know if I mentioned that I was trying to get beer for my grand opening of my book.
You did. You said it's going to be undrinkable.
Yes, it almost certainly will be. But if it is drinkable, the backup plan is I'm going to Philadelphia next week. If I cannot find this recipe in time for my grand opening, I've got a guy, and I think we're going to try and make a Wild Goose clone.
Oh, nice.
Which was the first Maryland, which was the first Eastern Shore production beer. The problem is that my homebrew friend who can make it, he hates. He's so nerdy that he hates the yeast that they use.
I hate that yeast.
I was speaking with one of the icons of the early beer movement. One of the first guys. He started this guy. His name's Alan Pugsley. He started, I think, 9 breweries between 1986 and 1992. Something absurd. He was just all over the place building these breweries. And so I thought I was going to impress this guy. And I'm like, hey, I had this long interview with Alan Pugsley. He helped me with the book, blah, blah, blah. Right. And this guy said, did you ask him to stop using that fucking Ringwood yeast? And you're like, why would I ask that? I don't even know what that means.
Right.
So if I can get him over the Ringwood yeast hate that he has, we'll get maybe some Wild Goose Amber if we can't get the Beale Fordley stuff to go.
That would be cool. That would definitely be cool.
So I got, I'll go on all night because I'm so excited about my freaking book. It's embarrassing, but I'll go on all by myself, and we'll start cutting it off here. So you got anything else? Yeah,
no, we're getting to the point where I got nothing else until Thursday.
Until Thursday. All right. Well, until Thursday, may God give you may Todd give you the sense to live in a small town.
We'll see you next week at Happy Hour.
Cheers.